Hey everybody, so this is the first video on our last unit of the year, which is Africa's empires. So here is the continent of Africa. It's like this. I want you to think, would this be a political or physical map? Political map show boundaries, physical map show landforms. Expect that to be a question in your Google form. So anyways, we are going to focus on two different empires in the next 2 weeks. We are going to focus on Mali and Ghana. Both of these empires are going to be on the west end of Africa, kind of over here in this corner. But before we can even get into about these empires, I want you to know about their geography. So, Africa is the world's second largest continent. Currently, it's home to 52 countries, 1,000 different languages, and 800 million people. The African continent has almost every type of landform and climate, and there's different regions, including the Sahara, the Sahel, the savannas, and the tropical rainforests. So you can tell it's the desert up here and the savanna, so we're talking right on this west end side. So we are talking mostly desert, savanna type of landforms. So the Sahara is the world's largest hot desert. So if you look up pictures of the Sahara Desert, you will be amazed at how massive this thing is. So it runs across the width of the northern part of Africa and literally covers a third of the continent, desert. It divides the continent into two distinct regions, north and the sub-Saharan, or like beneath it. The Sahara is covered with sand dunes, rocky hills, and stretches of gravel that continue for miles and miles and miles. So literally this entire chunk of the northern part of Africa is covered in desert, almost inhospitable, which means you can't live there. If there's no water, there's no food. This is what it looks like for miles, thousands of miles. The Sahara, very few people live here because it's one of the harshest places to live in the world. The people who live here are called nomads. Hopefully, you can remember from 5th grade, and a nomad is someone who travels, that follows their food and travels. They don't have a permanent house, they just are constantly moving. What I just said, they move from place to place, usually traveling by camel, looking for food and water. So if you think that people are riding on camels through the desert, this is true. This is literally what we're talking about. Here's an example of some of the sand dunes that are there. Right underneath the Sahara is the Sahel, which is a strip of dry grassland that's south of the Sahara, but north of the equator, that separates the desert from the rainforests. It means border or margin. It's a dry, semi-arid region that's slowly turning into a desert with all the climate change we're seeing. It gets more rainfall from a desert, but still like 6 to 20 inches. How much rainfall does Ohio get? Ohio averages about 37 inches of rain. So we in Ohio have about 37 inches of rain. They have 6 to 20 inches of rain. We have literally double the maximum amount of rain they've ever seen. So it's really dry. So we're pretty much talking those two landforms as well as the savanna. Savanna. The African savannas are hot, dry grasslands that are located near the equator and cover almost half of Africa. So if we're looking at our map of Africa, we have deserts, like semi-arid, dry, and the savanna kind of areas. This is where we're talking. We are talking specifically, let me zoom in on this. We're talking specifically Mali, which is right here, and Ghana, which is just a little north of Mali. Those are where we're talking about our next two ancient civilizations. They're not too ancient though. I mean, we're in AD. We're in the 1200s AD. So we're growing into the more modern era of the world. But in the next video, we will get into some of the different civilizations. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.